President Trump brought up what he calls the unfairness of the fake media, most prominently, a lack of coverage of his unproven and unverified charges that former Vice President Joe Biden and his son Hunter have received millions of dollars in corrupt payments from a Russian oligarch and a Chinese billionaire. You know, this is 60 Minutes, and we can't put on things we can't verify.
You won't put it on because it's bad for Biden.
We can't put on things we can't verify.
Leslie.
They cut out everything that showed that their narrative was a piece of horse manure. And it shows you how dishonest, these are smear merchants. That's why nobody trusts corporate media. They are a disaster in what they're doing. They knew what they were doing was a lie. I knew what they were doing was a lie. Everybody here knows what they were doing is a lie. They know that we know they're lying, and yet they continue to lie. And they lied, and they lied, and they lied. We offered them the information, and they declined to interview the key people.
The story is preposterous. So we're supposed to believe that Hunter Biden, in a drunken stupor, dropped off his laptop in, I guess, apparently QAnon repair office.
Or super spreader events and giving Russian disinformation, spreading Russian disinformation.
Disinformation that he knows to be fabricated and supplied by a foreign intel. Despite the warning, he's still doing it.
You have said this entire thing is so obviously a Russian plot.
It's sort of a crazy quilt at this point, which has all the hallmarks of Russian disinformation. That said, it wasn't for lack of trying.
Rudy basically functioning as a Russian asset by pushing Russian disinformation.
CNN reported on Friday that U.S. authorities are seeing if those emails we just talked about are connected to an ongoing Russian disinformation effort.
They say whatever they're told. 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 They say whatever they're told.
Has Twitter failed in setting themselves up in the past as the judge of what can go out there? And I would say yes, you have. You failed when you threw the New York Post off of Twitter for talking about Hunter Biden's emails, and it turned out that was a real story.
Right.
You failed. You failed. You failed.
A person who had independent access to Hunter Biden's emails confirms 2 of the emails the Post published, including one about a potential deal with China with the line 10 held by H for the big guy. For the big guy. That is Joe Biden. The big guy.
And then it has 10% for the big guy held by H. I 1,000% sit here and know that the big guy is referencing Joe Biden. That's crystal clear to me because I lived it.
Answer this question.
What is
was
the
it
question?
Was it appropriate to bury the Hunter Biden?
You're talking about the press doing that?
He's saying that's what they did, and that is what they did. They buried the Hunter Biden story before the election because they were like, we can't risk having the election thrown to Trump.
Are you missing a laptop? Not that I know of. Have you ever given your father money from any of your business ventures? No. Nothing? Nothing. Ever. Not a nickel? Not a nickel. Directly or indirectly? Directly or indirectly. Not a nickel ever. 100% no. Never.
Russian disinformation campaign.
It's a lie. This lacks credibility. The fact that it appeared in the New York Post.
The only place low enough to put this orphan bastard story in print.
Obvious disinformation.
It is so obviously a Russian operation.
So obviously disinformation.
So obviously a Russian plot. Tell me why it's so obviously a Russian plot to you.
This is just classic textbook Soviet Russian tradecraft at work.
Right, exactly. And this is classic, very classic Russian disinformation tactic.
Your classic disinformation campaign.
When you threw the New York Post off of Twitter.
The laptop data we had analyzed showed no evidence it was fake or tampered.
Turned out that was a real story.